What is happening, everyone? We are back. Just to remind everyone, I'm a Richard RHMax. That's just what my shirt says right here. I don't know if you guys have. This is like the first shirt I ever produced. CFD token, Roger Ver, and Scivive. That is the themes of 2017, from what I remember, because I made the shirt. So I got to write the themes down at the time. I also made 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022 shirts, and these were given out at the PulseCon. I think it's the first time I gave them out at PulseCon. I might have gave them out at local meetups too. I don't remember. But yeah, it was really fun making these and going through the different Richard stuff and the themes of that year. I don't know if I make a 2023. Yeah, what should the 2023 say? PulseChain, SEC, price go down. I don't know. Tell me what a 2023 shirt should say. But 2024, however, we can only hope and pray it'll be a completely different story, won't we? So before we get into it, we got two guests here today. We got Crypto Vince. We got Ben Dubard. He's back. 4 for 4. He's trying to go 5 for 5. He may very well do it tomorrow. Godfather J6. What's happening, man? Good to see you. Numerian. Glad you could catch us live. Glad you could come back. I don't tweet. I feel like I only try to tweet the day of or the day before, and I try to retweet when I can. But I have it also streaming on Twitter, which I attached the link to. And I just don't have time to do it right before the stream. I just stopped doing it. Right before the stream, I used to do it like 1 minute before. I would time the tweets. I would schedule them. It's just too much work. So some people, you may miss a live if you're only looking on Twitter. That's why if you hit the if you're subscribed and you hit the bell button, for example, hit the like, spell, all that stuff that our friend Tommy says, you'll probably catch it sooner. Although some people have even questioned whether I've been shadow banned before because they don't get notifications sometimes. So who knows? You never know when Binance is going to buy the algorithm that supports YouTube notifications, all that stuff. Red Squirrel, what's happening? Oi to you as well. Good to see everyone. Today's gonna be an interesting day. We're gonna go through. You're gonna hear me tell you all the reasons why I think Windows makes you much more vulnerable when you're on the internet. I may touch on validators a little bit too on the Linux side security. Although I want to do a validator AMA where I just focus on PulseChain validators, Ethereum validators. It's the same concept. It's just a fork. So I think I may do an AMA on that and just go through really like all the security stuff, all the attack surface, all the really simple stuff. There's not really a lot to do security-wise in validators from my perspective. But today, yeah, we're going to go over, talk about Android, talk about iOS a little bit. Everyone's like, iPhone or Android, which one's better? Spoiler alert. Not really I don't really have a huge position on them. I think stop downloading malicious apps and stop losing your phone. It reminds me of the scene from Liar Liar when he's like, the guy's on the phone. He just got in trouble for something else. What are you going to tell him? And he's like, stop breaking the law, a-hole. Like when he screams at him on the phone, it's like, stop clicking on the links. Basically, that's my app advice. And then we'll go through apps, and then like I said, phone stuff, Windows, Mac, Linux, and then maybe touch on dApps a little bit too. So should be a pretty good one. Ben DeBard's ready. Boom. You're back, man. You're back. What's happening?
That's right. I'm back. Nothing much, man. Just been chilling. Been pretty busy. What have you been doing?
I have been thinking about how I'm going to explain to everyone what they thought about security this whole time. The red pill changes everything.
Whoa.
I know, okay. It sounded pretty deep. Y'all was going to learn today. That's what I've been thinking about. It's going to be fun. Yeah, I want you and Vince too to kind of like challenge me on some of these concepts too, because I'm going to bring out a couple spicy ones.
You're going down.
Hey, I never said you would beat me, but if you challenge me, at least it'll help me think and kind of lay out my position a little better, or I can learn something today as well. I'm totally up for that as well, so it should be fun.
No, I'm excited. It's cool to have a third person today. Makes it exciting. It's like, oh yeah, because it's me and you, and now we got a third. It's
thirds are great. Threes, 6s, 9s. I like them.
It's like a potion. We're adding a secret ingredient. What's going to
happen?
We have
it's the opposite of a third wheel. What do you call it when the magic ingredient has been added? Boom, crypto vent. Oh crap. Crypto Vince is here. There we are.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
I thought the button to show the comment was the button to add to stream, so that's why I messed that up.
Too bad it's
Welcome,
not multifunction. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I've got your shirt lying around somewhere. I got that from we met at PulseCon and I got the 2018 one. So yeah,
nice.
Work today. I should have thought of that actually.
That's okay. Sometimes I remember after I first gave him out, I think Coffee wore his to our first stream together, and I think Fashion Coder's dad, I see pictures of him wearing them sometimes. Nice. It's always cool on Twitter to see pictures of people wearing the shirts that I made. It always gives me a smile. So shout out to everyone who still has their shirts and likes to tell everyone either their scale on the spectrum of rich art maximalism, or just I made the Hex shirts, PulseChain shirts. I got a new one. I'm debuting at the local meetup at our barbecue this Saturday. New PulseX shirt, and it's got a shout out to Instant Token on there as well. So it's fun. It's fun making swag and getting the community involved and letting people show off their stuff. I mean, were you part of? Let's see, was it Hex merch? Are you?
Yeah, well,
you involved with him?
Yeah, not directly so much anymore, but yeah, we're I'm friends with the owner, and yeah, he's still doing his hustle and. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I remember, when I met you were hanging. At least we're in the same area and stuff too. So I was like, oh, okay. I wonder if Vince I didn't know if you did any design.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Ben, you have another stream today, Ben?
I've been streaming every day on my channel at 10 a.m.
Holy crap!
17 days now.
That's amazing,
dude. You're putting in minimum 10 streams per week if you come tomorrow. Imagine that.
It's been a lot of fun. The morning stream, it's kind of nice. Like I start the day off doing something, feels productive, and it's kind of cool. Been having good viewer. My chat is like really chill. Everyone in there, who's been in my live chat has been just like so cool. It's actually fun. It feels like I'm just like hanging out with people.
You should be more toxic and change that up, man.
I know, right?
You're too cordial. You're too cordial. Yeah. Just become a maximalist, and you'll get a little bit of hate just from people who don't prefer that flavor, I guess, of people around. So I don't know. I don't get that many. I used to get more comments. But the comments I would get is like, I think before people knew what I was trying to bring, I think I kind of clarified some things in the last few months or so, where I've just been trying to get these interviews and make these streams, and really got on my way to create content to be like, here is stuff I know and what you should know, and here's people I talk to, and they're talking about this interesting stuff that can help you understand the ecosystem better. But I think at first I was kind of, would you call it, prejudice? Where everyone's like, RHMax, he's just going in there and talk about RH and how much he loves him every day. Nah, that ain't me. So I tried to bring that up as best I could.
I used to get flack on Furu's stream. I'd go on Furu's stream and they'd be like, this Ben guy doesn't say anything.
I remember you guys streamed together for a long time. And I think he talked on there. I mean, Furu just talks a lot, right? So it's kind of that's just
Here's the thing. Furu goes,
it's his show.
Oh, Ben, what do you think the price of Bitcoin is going to do? I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. God. He's like, okay. People were like, boring.
God, this guy can't even give us precise predictions about things nobody knows about. You need to talk more, Ben.
I think the Ben and Furu link up is going to come again soon sometime. It's been a while.
I like to see it. I like crashing your all's streams. I like getting in there and just like taking over chat. That was my favorite thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, I think I'm having a conversation, but also I look at the chat and it's just me. So I'm like, maybe I'm not having a conversation anymore.
It's more of a monologue.
It feels like that sometimes. And then I'm like, acknowledge me, Ben, acknowledge me. This is funny. I said, I went out of my way to think of this. It's very clever. Acknowledge this. We were, anyway. You guys, security, that's a great intro. First time.
All right. Yeah. What are we talking about again?
We're talking about how anyone who runs, yes, it has been actually viewership was the highest on day one, hardware wallets. It sounds like that resonates with a lot of people. And then I think yesterday we had 30 some people watching, which honestly always shocks me. Every time I have a security AMA, it's like maybe 20 some people. And if I get 30 plus, I'm like, whoa, we must be saying some stuff that people like to hear right now. So, I mean, yesterday I did mention VPN, so maybe that like got people in or something. But today, yeah, we're just bashing and trashing all the devices and operating systems everyone loves. So that's where I want to start with. Well, let's before I get into some of the, I guess, problems I have too. I want to Yeah, Ben, what is your prediction? What is your prediction for you think people will eventually switch to, if we keep telling them about it, or if I keep just telling them about it, I'll say, and I think I've got you on board a little bit more with Max and stuff too. And I know Vince, he uses Linux, at least for validators, and he understands like the value prop for a lot of that too. Yeah. But do you think that eventually, so there's different devices that can help lock stuff down, but honestly, if you're running a Windows computer, you're like in the trash lane of the internet. I'm gonna start right there. You are exposed to all the malware, and that's a fact. So I'm not saying Mac is perfect, not saying you're not going to get hacked or anything, or Linux is either. There's plenty of vulnerabilities, plenty of things to go around. But anyways, Ben, do you think with people taking it more seriously, maybe in the bear market, people have more time to study and kind of get into it and relax a little bit when price is down, they can say, okay, do you think the security posture changes, and you think people will change the way they approach things, whether it's stop using hot wallets and MetaMask and hardware wallets, going from Windows to Mac? Do you see these things? You think we're making some change here? You think people are going to change the way they look at things?
I hope so, but I don't know. I think a lot of it's going to be like, a lot of people are just going to wait till like the bull run, I think, when they actually have money, when stuff's going up. So honestly, like some people might be like, it's not, go ahead and hack me. Like, it's not worth shit anyway. So,
that was a great comment the other day. You think people are like, I love MacBooks, but I don't have $1,200 right now, that kind of thing? Like, is it just the cost? Is it the cost, or is it the learning curve? What do you think is the biggest impact on people changing stuff?
I think it's both, or it depends on the person. Because $1,200 right now, like you might be like, well, I'd rather buy the dip, and I'm okay to like take that risk of having a MetaMask, and I'll just be really careful not to click any links or whatever. But also it is one of those things, like I had a hardware, I know people like they buy the hardware wallet and they just hold it, and they're like, oh, I know I need to like set it up. I just like, it is like, sometimes it's like, oh man, it's like a chore. Oh, I got to do a new thing. Oh gosh, So.
That was actually me back in 2017, because I had bought a Ledger Nano S, and I just kind of, it was just sitting there like unboxed for a couple of months because I was just too lazy to set it up.
I'm pretty sure I did the same thing too when I got one. Like I just like I didn't set it up, and then I did set it up, but my hex stakes were still on MetaMask, and that took me even longer to finally migrate my seed to a hardware wallet. And I used the Papa Boner video, but it's like an hour, so that's one reason I made a video showing how to do that, but it's like 12 minutes. His video is good too, and he's like the freaking GOAT, I think. I've learned like so much from him about crypto security, but I remember the first time I pulled up his video to migrate, I was like, this is an hour? F this. Like, not going to do it now.
Yeah.
Is
it? So what? On Vince too, just on your storage. So you said you bought it and then didn't use it for a while. What made you eventually use it? Like what happened? Did something resonate with you? You're like, oh my, like I actually need to take this seriously, or how'd it come about?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think kind of going back to backtracking a little bit to what you guys were talking about. I think it's one of those things where, like we saw this a lot in the community, where people don't really care so much about security until either something bad happens to them, or they hear something bad happened to a community member, or they finally get enough money to that personal threshold to where they feel they need to care. So yeah, it just shows, it just goes to show, human nature. We tend not to care about things until we just hit a point where we think it actually matters. So yeah, I think I had heard about some wallet hacks at the time, and that just kind of motivated me to actually, finally use what I bought.
That's what I was going to say. I think it either takes seeing someone get hacked and go through some kind of suffering or loss or otherwise, or yourself, that's the tragedy we're trying to avoid. Like that's what, when I talk about these things, I'm like, this it probably isn't going to resonate with people unless one, they're just intellectually curious. They're like, hey, I've been wondering about this. Maybe they saw some stuff before, but they never put the pieces together, either about hardware wallets or, changing, different behavior, operating systems, whatever it is. Or two, they actually do get affected and they say, okay, everything else is on hold. I need to do something. What can I do? Oh, there's some advice here or there, or there's, I've seen other people do this, which worked, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's, I guess if there's the most effective angle to get to is how do you get people to take security seriously, which is like, it's such an overused phrase to take security seriously. It's like, first of all, if I'm the other person, I'm like, you tell me why I should take it seriously. And I don't have a good answer for that other than showing them what happens when they don't, which they kind of need to see and resonate with on their own, whether it's somebody they know or some famous story that comes out. I had Staked Wealth on the show a while back, and he went through the story of him losing, I forget how many ETH, but a bunch of crypto through a torrent hack. He downloaded a torrent and installed malware, and he had a hot wallet that had a bunch of ETH in it, I believe what it was, and the full story. I mean, those kind of things, I hope, I clipped it out, I put it out there, had a lot of, I think a lot of people watched it and saw it, and hopefully that stuff resonates with people. So learning from other people, but I really hope to help people avoid it happening to themselves, and then them being like, not only do I need to go do all this stuff and spend extra money and all the things I could have done before, now I need to do that without, having this loss. Now I have this loss on my hands, which, just kind of sets me back. You got to deal with the bad feelings and all that stuff. You may, criticize yourself or criticize your process too. But I think that's kind of the magic sauce that I haven't quite figured out yet, is how do you make security interesting enough where you don't need to learn from somebody else in order to do it. But I'm definitely open for ideas. If you guys have, I guess that's a question for you. Go on to Windows 2. When you talk to people about security, what is the thing that captures their attention the most? You found like they ask you the most, or you found that you recommend something to actually do it? You guys have good experiences like helping people like that? Everyone wants to go first.
People always ask me like what type of laptop they should get for crypto.
What do you tell them, Ben?
Well, you say Mac. I've told people Mac. I have an HP, and then I'm pretty sure Papa Boner says HP. So like that's where it's like different security people I respect and listen to. They all say different things. So I tell people also what you tell me, which is like at the end of the day, like kind of just making sure your browser's updated is good, and then also like just having a hardware wallet too. Like I don't know, like you could really be like crazy about security, like, oh, you gotta have this, like, so I kind of am like, Mac, HP, like I think Mac is the best though, and I tell them what I learned from you, like because most people use Windows, all the threats, hackers target Windows users, so Mac users are pretty much like safer because of that. But it really, I think it depends more on the hardware wallet, I think. Is that correct? Do you think that's correct? Like, because like even if you're using a laptop for crypto and you're like, I don't know, watching porn on it or whatever bad stuff that could get malware on your computer, your seed phrase is offline. So like, yeah, they might like, watch you do your camera or something else, but at least your seed phrase isn't like stored in the browser like MetaMask.
So on that, if you got malware, so scenario is you get malware on your computer, it's running Windows, but you're using a hardware wallet. I think the attack there would still be, there's the what was it called? It's called like Bitcoin, the one where they take over your clipboard. Me and Vince, we were kind of talking about that the other day when we did the demo for stuff, where they can replace the contents of your clipboard with the address you mean to send it to. So, God, what is that called? Let me look it up real quick. It's called like crypto replace clipboard. You guys remember?
Crypto shuffler.
Shuffler. There's some different words. Let's see. Crypto shuffler. So maybe clipboard. Just see if it comes up. Replacing Bitcoin wallet. Yeah. So basically, you copy and paste, and then, but before you paste it, they replace the address of where you want to send it to with the one that they want you to send it to, which is the attacker's address. So even if you have hardware wallet, that doesn't protect you against that kind of thing. So malware, it does help where they can't do transactions. So basically, it turns the attack from they can do whatever they want to your computer as long as it's online, they have access to it, to they need to wait for you to do something and then basically replace that with the action they want to occur, which is like send them crypto instead of send someone else crypto. Yeah. So that's a good point to crypto. Yeah, it's crypto shuffle. There's different names.
There's different types, but basically doing the same thing. Yeah.
Crypto replacer. Yeah, here we go. Here's one, crypto replacer. So basically, and we demoed this. Me and Vince demoed with the audio stuff. That was like one of the things I kind of want to relate it back to crypto, which is basically replacing the stuff in your clipboard, which just means when you copy something, like if I copy this and I copy it, and let's pretend that's an address, and then I go to paste it somewhere else. Right before I go to paste it, they could say, hey, before the next, when you see a copy happen, instead of copying this, they could tell your operating system, like Windows. They could be like Windows. They could be running, a driver or some sort of program that replaces your clipboard. They'll say, Windows, whenever you see the next time they copy something that looks like a crypto address, replace that address with this new address. And that could be running in the background the entire time. So that's one type of malware that could work that way. So hardware wallets, they're like the 2FA. They say, okay, are you sure you want to make the transaction? They help you generate your seed-words securely because it's offline, or at least on secure device versus on device that may be compromised, but they don't prevent all these attacks. So that's one thing that's actually points for Windows on that. Thank you for that, Ben. So I'm gonna wager that most of the ones, so this is made in Python, which could be cross operating system, but I'm gonna wager that most of the even the open source tools and the Trojans and stuff people find, they are meant to run on Windows. They use the Windows APIs for clipboard instead of the MacBook APIs and Linux APIs and stuff, because it's just so much more prevalent. Again, the market share, 95% of new malware threats discovered in 2020 are aimed at Windows. So they're going to be trying to get the most amount of people, the most amount of money, and that usually does include Mac, just because it's just not part of that prevalence overall. So that's one thing. That's a really good point you brought up, Ben. So even if you don't look at the operating system, let's say you run Windows, you run Mac, whatever it is, hardware wallet. Yeah, I would say like the top two things, hardware wallet. If you want to, try to set a baseline for yourself for crypto security, hardware wallet, and honestly, keeping your browser up to date. No matter if you're on Windows, you're on Mac, you're on Linux, keep your browser up to date. So there isn't some new bug that comes out that they've written an exploit for, that you're going to go to a website. It's going to be like, oh, all right, browser's popped. Now I can execute whatever code I want on a computer. And then, but even that would even target Windows more than anything else. But anyways, Vince, what do you think? Have you had success converting people one way or another on from bad habits to good habits for crypto security?
Well, in terms of getting people to like my onboards to use hardware wallets, I have definitely convinced people of that. In terms of things like which laptops to buy and operating systems to use, I haven't really gone into that nuance with a lot of them. I just kind of give them the freedom to choose, but I do tell them about the kind of like the pros and cons that I know of. Like, for example, when it comes to laptops, I personally recommend just tell people to kind of avoid specifically mainland Chinese manufacturers like Lenovo, because I know that the CCP has their tentacles crawling in pretty much every major tech company out that's based there, and so it's pretty much safe to assume that they have backdoors to everything like what you found here. So. Yeah,
Superfish was a big deal back a few years ago, where whether, who knows if it was intentional or not. However, malware did get shipped onto a bunch of laptops, so people bought laptops that already had malware installed.
Yeah.
So make of that what you will, whether it's intentional or not, but whether it's insider attack or state-sponsored attack. But yeah, I agree with you. I do try to stick with the American companies if I'm going to buy a laptop in general.
Yeah.
But the only point about the different brands. So I haven't heard Papa Boner's arguments for the different brands and why he prefers HP. I like HP just because use HP forever, and it's just kind of like one of those nostalgic brands that I like, and they have good quality hardware usually and stuff too. But I would say that I think it matters. The brand matters less than most, other than the maybe country of origin type of thing. If you're worried about state-sponsored attacks, like Vince's point, maybe you go with the American company, maybe it's HP, maybe it's IBM. I would say, honestly, if I had to choose which one I thought would be cleanest, I may go, again, I don't even think it's a significant point, but I might give points to IBM just because I know so many corporations use ThinkPads. And usually corporations have they have more programs that do due diligence, and before they make big purchases, and they may have security evaluations. They may have people there making sure that, hey, we're going to make $1 billion order over the next 10 years. You better have your stuff together. So they may force more due diligence for these kinds of processes too. So yeah. Oh, did Lenovo buy ThinkPad series? They might have. Crap. Okay, the older ThinkPads may be better than, we'll say that. The ones that, yeah, I'm not sure on did they buy maybe they did. Maybe they did buy the series. Okay, so if Lenovo bought, oh yeah, so maybe the ThinkPad is kind of the only one, because they may still have a lot of the their particular software and firmware and stuff. But yeah, otherwise Lenovo, I would be careful with for sure. But I was going to bring up this. I didn't think to bring it up. I'll put it in the chat too. Open source hardware. Have any of you heard of this?
No, I haven't.
So essentially, what is the problem? So there's all these basically crapware, different processors, different stuff that either can be really buggy or have security vulnerabilities, or just could have malware in them that's embedded. All the crapware you get installed when you first get an HP laptop or Lenovo, whatever laptop you have. Usually there's a whole bunch of OEM type software that, like when I get a new computer, even if it's a new laptop, first thing I do is format it. I take off all the HP stuff. I take off everything, and I put in a fresh, brand new copy of Windows, for example, if I'm going to run Windows on it. And then I feel like I'm good to go. Otherwise, I'm trusting that one of their drivers or one of their crap thing that I can install later on if I need to is going to open up attack surface. It may have malware already installed, hopefully not, like that kind of stuff. But I remove that doubt. So I get rid of that type of worry. So that's one thing I normally do. I never use the default stuff that comes on any new laptop I buy. I always install fresh Linux or fresh Windows, whatever. However, with open hardware, it's a pretty cool concept. They essentially, all the designs, all the stuff. So at companies, when you buy stuff, you don't really know what's in it, right? You don't know, you can see the specs, but you don't know, okay, where's the firmware? Where's all the code they put in? Where's all the, where these parts come from? Where were they manufactured? This is kind of a movement where it's like, okay, you can buy a laptop here for $1,200. I have not used one of these. I just know that it's pretty popular in the tech community of people who want, clean software. They don't have to worry about all this stuff. They actually have, I think they have the open firmware. They have all the different pieces. It's just a cleaner top. Actually, I kind of want to buy one of these now and try it out. Yeah. And they have trackpad. They have or the roller deal too. Anyways, there is open source hardware designs and specs and stuff that you can use, although they're not giant corporations. They're not going to be subsidized heavily. That you may not may not be able to buy a gaming laptop or whatever with them. But there are ways to do that. So, you can actually install your own memory, and it has batteries, and change your own batteries, all that fun stuff that we all like. So that's another way to get around it, supply chain type stuff. But let me just go back to Windows 2. So maybe I'll ask Vince this too. Vince, so I know you use Linux on validators and all that, Ubuntu and all that stuff. At home or otherwise, are you mainly Windows? Are you Mac? Are you Linux? What kind of, use different devices for different things? How do you normally, what's your setup look like?
Actually, yeah. So I'm a bit of I'm a really heavy Windows and Android user. I don't particularly have anything against Apple. I think actually, I really admire Steve Jobs because I think he was very genius visionary back in his day, and it's just kind of I got my start in terms of computing on Windows, so it was just something that it was my first impression and something that I just got used to. So But yeah, so I've just kind of been a Windows, I wouldn't say maximalist, but yeah, just heavy user. And I just worked my way up to the point where everything was second nature for me. So, and yeah, that being said, one of the things that I learned pretty early on in crypto was that it's, one of the things that you can do to kind of bypass a lot of these vulnerabilities that we talk about is pretty much just, if you can afford it, you, just have a dedicated a dedicated computer that you only use for crypto. And that way, even if you decide to do more adventurous activities on your let's say main entertainment computer, none of it would affect your crypto computer, since it's a completely separate machine. So yeah,
definitely. Me and Ben sort of touched on that yesterday too. Around like at home, I have different devices, and I have certain ones segmented with a different router, like physical separation on a different network. They can't talk to anything else. So, hey, if this gets compromised, you can't go, and get on my other machines, all that stuff. And that's something I recommend for validators too. Of course, if you're going to run them at home, I would put them on a separate network, even separate ISP, so your bandwidth doesn't get shared if possible.
That's pretty intense. Yeah.
I've heard people doing it. It's actually a surprising number of people's like, oh yeah, it was kind of like second nature to them. Yeah, I want to have a different line for it. I'm like, that is a very professional way of doing it. Like, it's not mandatory, obviously, but like I would, if I ran one at home, I think I would get another line just to run it, just so, if I'm watching Netflix or whatever, depends on how fast you are, what kind of speed you got. If you got fiber, you don't have to worry about it. But if you don't, and you're sharing like a 50 meg connection or something like that, another line could help. So yes, segmenting devices. And then Ben, so are you mostly Windows, Mac, Android, iOS? What are you running over there?
Yeah, Windows and Android. But you're making me want to switch to Apple stuff, which I kind of like have thought about doing that before anyway, just because like if I get added to group chats, it just sucks. Like I can't be a part of, like I was on a soccer team. They're like, oh, we'd add you to the group chat, but it's iPhone. And so then I'm like, I feel like I'm like left out of the team. Like one guy texted me the game times and stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay. That's one reason. And then also like I used to have Apple growing up, and it was pretty like clean and kind of seamless. And the reason I got Android is I had this friend, and it's like a computer science friend. He's like, dude, Android's so cool. You can customize it and download stuff and do all this cool stuff you can't do on iPhone. And I was like, wow, awesome. And then like, I got the phone, and I've kind of realized that like I don't even do any of that customization stuff anyway. Like I just don't care. I'd kind of like the idea of just having everything like set up all nice and pretty, and like, oh yeah, just everything's connected. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll switch to Mac at some point. I've thought about it. I've been thinking about it.
They are beautiful. Honestly, until maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I was Windows on. I only use Windows. I would switch companies. I would say, hey, I want a Windows laptop and I want a MacBook. And even then, a lot of people are starting to switch to MacBooks, just mostly to avoid a lot of the like tracking software and a lot of like the crap word they would put on there that only work for Windows. So a lot of especially in security, you're like, oh, how can I get around this? Oh, they don't have that particular restriction on Mac. So like it was appealing from that. But I had a learning curve. Like it was hard at first. I was like, no, I missed my, my certain programs I would use on Windows. But then eventually I'm like, I just found alternatives. I figured out how to use the mouse. I figured out how to use the keyboard a little bit better. They're just a little different. But besides that, you got a web browser, you got a text editor, you got a, IDE development. If you're coding, there's not a big difference other than the interface and knowing where to click and how to click on things. And you can turn some features on and off. You can turn right click on. You can make it feel more at home. But the biggest benefit, other than just this beautiful, beautiful machine we're looking at right here, is the ability to avoid all of this malware. Look at it. This is I did not make this up. This is not a fake website. This is google.com. Malware market share by operating system. Just this article from a VPN website. They're very reputable as well. We all know that. 95% of all new malware threats discovered in 2020 are aimed at Windows. 95%. I've said it at estimated. I would say 99% of malware is written for Windows. So I've said that before, and I'll stick with it until I see a better stat. But this one's saying 95% of new malware discovered in 2022 are aimed at Windows too. So, because it's the most popular operating system, again, if you're phishing, you're trying to get the most money, you want to affect the most people, you go for the most popular operating system. So just alone, like my case for switching away from Windows to whatever, it could be Mac, it could be Linux, whatever you're comfortable with. Linux, so the pros and cons really quick is Mac, you're going to need new hardware. You're going to need a MacBook, you're going to need iMac, whatever it is. That costs money. So if you want the free way to do it, and it still looks pretty cool, if you just want to run Ubuntu, or I know I haven't used Zorin, but Red Squirrel in the chat talks about Zorin a lot. Let me just type in Ubuntu to give you a peek. It still looks nice. It's still a cool thing to use.
Looks
you got fire. Shoot. Vince has had all kinds of experience with it, setting up validators and using the desktop version. Yeah. And I mean, it's beautiful. It got all kinds of cool backgrounds. You run all the programs. They're just different names. Like you still have a text that you still have all the programs. It's just a different way of clicking around, a different way of like looking at things. But Ubuntu's been around for a long time, probably, 20 years at this point. And I've been using Linux for, I would say 20 years at this point as well. And I think Ubuntu is the best one for new people. You don't need to buy new hardware. You can actually dual boot. A lot of people used to do this back in the day. I don't know if you guys did, but you would install you have Windows and you would pop in the disk to install Ubuntu. And it would ask you, hey, do you want to like format everything, or do you want to install it side by side with Windows? So that way, when you boot your computer, you don't need a new hardware. You can just choose. When you boot your computer up, it says, you want to go to Windows or Linux? And you pick one, and then it boots into that operating system. So that's another thing. If you're on a budget and you don't want new hardware at all, you can dual boot. That's a way to do it. And then that's actually kind of cool with crypto, because instead of getting a new physical hardware, of course, you can't use two at the same time. You have to pick one and reboot to go to the other. But you could have this, your crypto stuff you're using Linux on, and then you reboot to Windows to do your, whatever it is, to do streaming or video editing or whatever, all that stuff. So anyways, there's plenty of options. But honestly, I would just say buy another computer and just have two computers.
If you have a Windows and you wanted to add like Zorin, like Red Squirrel was saying, what happens to all your files on your computer and stuff? Like, would I need to like put them on a flash drive and then wipe everything and like redo everything, like redo the whole computer, or like how would that work?
If you want to dual boot,
or if I just wanted to like get rid of Windows on the computer and make it Linux.
Oh yeah,
or Zorin.
Yeah,
or
you would. Yeah, if you just wanted to format the computer that had Windows on it, you would just pop it in. It would ask you like, hey, where do you want to like? Click, install through, and then it'll ask you like, do you want to format everything, which means like get rid of anything that's on the hard drive right now, which would be Windows, and then you just do it. But yeah, make sure you back up your file, back up all the stuff that you want to use, because it's like you're formatting your computer. You're putting something else. You're erasing everything on it now, and you're putting a new operating system on it. So make sure to do a backup before you do any of this stuff. That's a great point.
Yeah, there's some nuance there where if you're trying to. If something's wrong with your Windows and you need to reinstall it, then you can keep your personal files and just have it reinstall Windows. But if you're switching it from Windows to another operating system, then I think it completely wipes everything. So
unless you dual boot, unless you dual boot, and especially if you have two hard drives, but yeah, different nuances. But anyways, it's totally possible to install it, back up your files beforehand, or dual boot, switch back and forth, or what I recommend everyone do, if you're not ready to leave Windows yet, just get another computer, take an old one, whatever, install Linux on it if you want to do Linux, and just try it out and just have it next to you and be like, okay, I'm going to play on Linux today. I'm going to learn how to do this. And then once you get used to it enough, if you like it enough, then you just end up, either taking that and installing on your main computer, or just swapping the computers if they're, you still like the speeds and preferences and stuff. So almost all the malware is made for Windows. That's why I don't have a problem with Windows existence. My problem with Windows is once I started using Mac and I stopped, I tweeted this the other day. It's like, here's an experiment. Send your, and I've did this before. Send your parents. I've sent my parents not a brand new, like a nice laptop that had a brand new installed Windows with every security program at the time I could think of on it. Like, I've locked it down. I didn't give them admin. I didn't give them administrator account. Didn't give them anything. And I swear to you, the next year they call me And I'm like, hey, how's the laptop going? Oh, it just doesn't work anymore. It just pops up everything everywhere. And I get there, I come back for the holidays, totally infected, got all kinds of crap on it. I'm like, how did you do this? I locked it down so well. How does this even happen? And this was in the time frame of like Windows 10. Windows 10's been out, I think 5-6 years or so. So this is like in the modern era. So I'm like, oh my God, what can I do to like help like family? Like, how can I just give them a laptop they're going to screw up? Guess what I gave them after that? Not a MacBook, but I gave them an iPad. And I'm like, you cannot mess this up. And I think still somebody did mess it up, but it wasn't through malware. It was, they like locked themselves out of the account or whatever like that. But the moral of the story is like, if you want to test out how safe these things are, give them to somebody who doesn't know anything about computers. Give them to your aunt who can't type, and then come back in a year and see which one's messed up. I doubt it'll be the MacBook. I doubt it'll be the iPad and stuff with malware, at least. So yeah, the analogy I always give is like, running Windows is you're driving, but you're driving down a really bad neighborhood. People are like shouting at you, like there's no kids running around. There's just like people who are just like looking to take advantage of you left and right. You just want to get out of there as soon as possible, but you got to do your business. You got to stop at that convenience store to get your shopping done or whatever it is. But you're at any moment you could be attacked, you could be assaulted or whatever. But using Mac or Linux, it's like you're driving down the nice neighborhood. You got families, you got strollers, everyone's waving at you. Everything's really nice and clean. And you're not worried about it. You just like, hey, crime still happens, but probably not today, that sort of thing. So you basically, if you aren't using Mac, for example, and you're still using Windows, it's not that you can't keep malware off your computer. It's just that you're starting with a disadvantage. You're starting by going down to the bad neighborhood, and now you just got to defend yourself with more and more stuff. And Ben brought up a point yesterday too that I wanted to talk about, which is, you're asking me about antivirus stuff. And for Windows, ever since Windows 8, I think Windows Defender, which is antivirus built by Microsoft, has been built into Windows. And I don't think I've ever installed, after that, I don't think I've ever installed another antivirus on a machine that I've got in the last few years. And I don't get, the Windows machines I have, they don't get malware on them because, I stay away from a lot of the bad stuff. But don't assume you can do that. But with Windows Defender, it really does do a good job. So I don't use Malwarebytes. I don't use AVG. I don't know. Let's do like top 10 Windows antivirus. I think the way I would explain antivirus software in the modern day, like today versus 10 years ago, is they're basically obsolete. The off-the-shelf ones. Windows Defender has made off-the-shelf antivirus obsolete. And I know everyone's out there like, oh, but I love this one. I've used it for years. I got the subscription for Christmas. It was free. I understand. But actually, antivirus software can have bugs too. And if you just type in, let's do antivirus exploit. So when you add software to your computer, you add complexity. Richard talked about this in a roundabout way too. Add complexity, you can add attack surface. Antiviruses actually have exploits, and let's see, exploiting almost every antivirus. Here we go, 2020 by Rack 911 Labs, looks like a security research firm. And you could be, by installing antivirus outside of just what is perfectly fine that comes with it, Windows Defender, you could actually be adding attack surface. And when there's an exploit, Kaspersky has been around forever. Bitdefender is really popular, F-Secure. It's their whole marketing thing is like, no, but we do this extra feature. We do this thing. We need to, it's like this old industry hanging on to the last threads of like market share because it's in their best interest to do so. They absolutely want to keep doing that because they want to keep making money for shareholders. That's how companies work. But they're really obsolete. And that's the way I look at it. Like I would just use Windows Defender and you can just Google for antivirus exploit, that videos. You can see the different bugs that can come from them. More software, more bugs, potentially more exploits. That's the way I at the baseline, I look at it. And from there, I have not installed an antivirus or recommended antivirus for anyone on a Windows computer for many, many years because Windows Defender, it does a good enough job. And it really is a pretty good solution that low key doesn't, it's not perfect, but it's free. It comes by default and it doesn't add a whole bunch of other junk onto it. I can say that for it. But now that I've ripped antiviruses, what is your reaction, Ben Dubart?
Oh man, I mean, I feel like, we talked about this earlier in the week, so I'm kind of like, it's like a nice review for me, just listening to it. So yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed it. I've been learning a lot this week. It's been a pretty awesome streams. I'm probably gonna like tell people to watch these streams, if they can. What is it, like 5 hours of info? I mean, I don't know. Every day has been really good. Lots of cool stuff. What was that website? Oh, Rack 911 Labs.
Yeah, let me
put it scroll up again, or go back to wherever it was.
Yeah, this one.
The article about exploiting every antivirus software. Like,
there's
those the softwares they know how to like exploit or something.
Yeah, so these are different ones. So they even have antivirus on Mac and Windows. So on Mac, I told Ben before too, like I don't even recommend any antivirus for Mac. I think Mac is such a low risk of getting malware combined with all the security features that are in Mac that I've seen at work that actually do stop a lot of attacks. I don't even think there's ROI installing antivirus on Mac. That's my personal view. Right. They will make them for them because they want to sell them to you, but I just don't think it's necessary on Mac and Linux. But on Windows Defender. But yeah, this is an exploit for Windows, for McAfee. This is a video of an exploit for Norton Internet Security on Mac. Do they have a Linux one somewhere? Yeah, probably not. There you go. Linux wins again.
I have a general question. Is it just me, or hasn't like phishing scams and email scams, haven't all these things kind of been increasing just over the years? And so first of all, is that correct, or it kind of seems like it's been more and more?
I think so. And phishing is one of the things that it's just really hard to fix, because phishing it's really just, there's no way to stop phishing, honestly. Like that is like one of the unsolved problems in security. I don't know if it ever will be. You're literally trying to take context and you're trying to root out like people convincing other people to do things.
There's more of a social element to it, because usually the scammers will contact you through email or phone, and that's how the link gets started. And it's not necessarily something that a software can help you filter out.
The only thing that software can do that they've been trying to do is heuristics. It can look at, it can check a link. Oh, they sent a link. Does that link come from, like, we get a virus total? I talked about the other day too. Like maybe they send it to a server. They send whatever link they find in the email to a service like virus total. Be like, hey, virus total, do you have any information? Like, you scan like 100 different antiviruses for malicious stuff. Let us give you this URL and check the URL to see if there's anything, anyone reporting bad stuff with it. Like this one we did yesterday or the day before, PulseChain, but instead of an I, there's an L. And all these say they're clean. I've went to the website. It's not even a website. It's just a domain. But TrustWave flagged it for phishing because, it looks like it could be a phishing thing, because they know PulseChain is a real thing, but PulseChain with an L instead of an I looks like somebody is maliciously trying to get people to go to the website. So the only two things that are really effective that they can do for phishing is, one, check whatever links that they want you to go to if they do email you instead of call you or otherwise, because they can do a combination of the two to try to get you really involved, like Vince said. So they can check the links and see if they're malicious and then flag it from there. Or they check basically they have a reputation for the email, because I as a security professional, I participated in phishing campaigns and stuff. So like I have a little bit of insight of like how we try to, be more successful at it to prove to the company these attacks are still possible and stuff. So another thing is reputation. So if Gmail or whatever sees you just created this email account a week ago, and now you're sending these emails to other people, you have a low reputation. Like you are a new email address. You're not someone who sent 1,000 emails over the last 5 years. You just created a week ago. So they use those kind of statistics as well to try to determine whether they should flag it or not, or whether they should automatically delete it or stop it or otherwise, based on reputation of the sender and what kind of content, such as whatever, is there any malicious or weird looking links in the content? So those are the only two things they can try to do. But still, again, any person doing phishing, okay, just either compromise other people's emails. So now it's like a two-stage attack where you go get maybe go on the dark web and maybe people do this. They buy like a bunch of email addresses that have been used for the last 10 years. Now how are you going to know? How are you going to stop that, right? Reputation check. Or they use links that are from domains that have compromised, that have a good reputation. So maybe they compromise, getfreesoftware.com. They compromise that website. They go hack that website. And if you go there / free demo, that's actually malware. That's actually, it downloads malware on the computer. So now they've already acquired things with a good reputation in order to trick you and bypass all the filters of the email providers that are going to try to stop the phishing attack in order to get you to click on the link. So there's all these like pieces they can put together to do it. Yeah.
It's just a product of the world being more digital than, because it's like I talk to my mom and other people, they're like, yeah, I get so many scam texts, like way more than I used to. But it must just be like the world is so much more digital.
Well,
so.
It's profitable. Yeah. So why do people target crypto people? It's money, right? Like you can make a lot of money. So anything, so there's no, I was actually thinking about this earlier today, philosophically. It's like, walls and stuff aren't there to prevent people from doing things. They don't stop anyone from breaking laws or whatever. They try to make the cost big enough to make you not want to do it.
Disincentivize people. Yeah,
exactly. They disincentivize you, whether it's good or bad, you agree with it or not. No one's gonna, you can't stop someone from doing these bad actions, but you can say, hey, if you do it like the other person, they got in big trouble for it. So they try to put the accountability there. So same thing with crypto and these attacks and phishing and all this stuff. It's profitable. Like there's incentive for them to do it, and everyone being more connected, everyone being more online each year, there's more people putting their money online, and also more people used to, like before, you can't phish someone who doesn't know how to click on a link. There's like so many, the more literate computer people we have coming out of school, growing up, getting online, doing their business, the more profit potentially, unfortunately, the attackers can make. So that grows every year. The GDP of the internet and people that use it grow every year. So I think it's a big part of it.
Is that the same for crypto? The users increase every year? This is totally not really related, but just randomly.
I would think so. Yeah, I think crypto is being more accepted
with the market.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
So it does increase every year, or it decreases with the market and then increases with the market?
You saying the more people that have crypto increase every year?
Like when the market dumps, do we decrease in users of crypto?
My guess
transactions,
would be,
yes.
Yeah. My guess would be that it kind of goes parallel with the market, but overall, I think each market cycle we see a bit bigger increase in users, just because people naturally try to go where they can earn the most money, and there's always new people discovering crypto every cycle. So yeah,
cool.
And this one has some interesting data before we wrap up too. What's up, Ben? Do you have another question?
No, I said good to know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this one. What systems have you seen affected by ransomware? Windows Server, Windows Tablet. I'm trying to find statistics that show me that Windows is superior for security. I'm trying to find it. I'm having a hard time right now. Mac OS, Android, iOS. This totally makes sense to me. Like Windows and Windows Server, right? Like these are the run anything you want, download apps, do whatever you want kind of stuff. And then the tablet's like, okay, now it's a lockdown. Maybe you can turn unofficial apps on and off. Maybe you can't, whatever. Mac OS, just market share is just not there. People just aren't running it, so it's not targeted. And my opinion, it's a little bit better at security overall. And then Android and iOS, same thing as the Windows tablet, is again a lockdown operating system where you can't just download and run all the apps. You have to run them from the App Store, which I've already they've applied a lot of scrutiny to. Yeah, they can still be malicious apps in the App Store, and you can, in Android especially, you can turn off and let me install any app I want, which disables a lot of security features, but also lets you install the unofficial apps. So you gotta weigh that with how much you're interested in security on that. I definitely wouldn't turn it off on my main phone, but I enjoy the fact that on other Android phones I can turn it off, run my own app stores or whatever I want. But I would not run it on the phone where I have crypto, and I don't use crypto on my phone. So boom, double protected on that.
Actually, that's a great point. I've always, my personal philosophy has always been never do anything crypto on phone, because it's just I feel so much more in control of my environment when I do it on a PC. So.
Yes, Totally agree. And again, it's nothing against Staker app or Miner app or any of the awesome apps we have out there for crypto. It's just that if you have a choice, I prefer to not do it on my phone. It's just, I think my phone is one of the things that is connected to so much personal information. So I take good care of it, and I don't want to chance at any apps or anything. If they steal my personal information, that's one thing. If they steal my money, that's like another bad thing. And I try to avoid putting the information out there to be stolen, that kind of thing. So that's why I try not to do crypto on my phone.
For sure.
And I don't need to. I just go home, do it on my computer. I don't need to trade while I'm out. When I'm out, I'm out. So it's not even a use case for me either.
Yeah.
So, gents, I think we'll wrap it up there. I think what do you all want to take us out on? I think today, went over a lot of Windows stuff, went over phones, went over just some of the Mac, Linux, Windows. What has been something people can take away from this that we've shared? Start from the top down.
Sure.
Yeah, I think the general theme of the week has been to take security serious. So it would suck to DCA and to find the right ecosystem to put your money into just to have it stolen. So. Control what you can. You can't control the price going up or down, but you can control your security. So I think it's good to do. So, and Windows sucks apparently.
I literally renamed the stream RIP Windows, Antivirus, and GOGOGO Mac and Linux.
RIP Windows.
Yes, RIP Windows. How about you, Vince?
Yeah, I guess biggest takeaway is just find it in yourself to care about this stuff before you get rich, because when you at that point where you actually get rich, it's kind of too late. You might have people trying to fish you and come after you for your riches. So just take the time now, since we're in a bear market, to shore up your security apparatus and make sure everything's airtight. And along with the Windows thing, even though this stream, I've known about a lot of this stuff for years, but it still doesn't really deter me from being a Windows user, just because I know my way around it. And but I mean,
okay,
yeah,
there's different power. There's different users. I mean, I think I would just suggest everyone not pretend like they're a power user when is it Dunning-Kruger, when you think you're smarter than you are, type of thing.
Yeah.
It's like there are certain people like Vince. I bet Vince rarely, if ever, gets malware. Same thing with Ben. I bet Ben rarely, if ever, gets malware, and they have hardware wallets and they have other protections too. But the average user, are you going to trust yourself to never click on a bad link? Why take that chance? It's that's like my sales pitch. It's like, why take that chance? You click on a wrong link on Windows, bad stuff may happen. Click on a wrong link on Mac, they'll be, oh crap, I thought it was another Windows user. Never mind. Go on.
Yeah, for sure.
That's my summary sales pitch. But go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Vince.
Oh no, it's all right. And just kind of backtracking a little bit. One of the things, I guess another minus point for Windows would be that, as you kind of alluded to earlier, all the major laptop manufacturers for Windows, they add on what's called bloatware, which is basically your kind of an entire suite of different software, but it's usually a trial version. It's not really even the full versions of stuff. So even with when it's kind of annoying, because sometimes they'll put virus scanners on there that but they only give you a 30-day free trial, and then after that it runs out. So you're under the impression that you're unprotected after that if you don't know how to configure Windows Defender, and then end up you end up either buying a sub, and which in some cases is not that bad of a thing if you know how to use it and you configure it to actually protect your laptop. But at the same time, you're kind of spending more money than you need to. You could, as RHMax said, you could just use Windows Defender for free. So
I came across so many hostage situations where it's literally like my aunt or uncle will be like, oh, the thing came up in 30 days, said I'm not protected, so I paid for it. I'm like, oh my god, no. But how do you say it? How do you even explain that? No, you can just uninstall that. What's uninstall? How do I do that? But like, if I get to a computer in 5 minutes, I'll be like, okay, you're good. Windows finished up to date. It's on. You don't need anything else. But they are so firmly convinced their computer is telling them what they should do, and they should do the right thing to stay secure. It's I'm usually generous, but I gotta call that one hostage wears a little, from time to time. Like that's a little disingenuous from them. But again, capitalism, incentives, they can be on, they can be off, but you're trying to make money. So I get it as a marketing technique for sure. The nerds lost that battle on the internal meetings. I will say.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right, everyone. That's all we got today. Tomorrow, last day of security week. 5 for 5. Ben's going 5 for. You going 5 for 5, Ben?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I got to. Of course.
It's like I'm going 10 for 10. I'm streaming every day too. I can't believe you're streaming it. I don't think I've ever did 10 for 10. Holy shit! Like kudos for that, man.
I'm trying to go. I said I'd do it every day for 30 days, so it's been like 17. Tomorrow will be number 18.
Wow. Okay.
You're
like only stream September. It's like no shave November. It's like only stream 30 day challenge. 30 day challenge.
I might keep it going longer. I don't know. I'm gonna see how I feel, but I don't know. It's been kind of fun.
It's inspiring. It really is. I'm like, I look around. I'm streaming almost every day. I'm like, I feel like I stream a lot. And Ben's like, yeah, this is my 10th one. I'm like, Jesus. Okay, I got some work.
I don't know, man. Like you and Furu and Crypto 7 and like ATX and Westcott, you guys are like, I mean, there's others too. I hate listing people who are doing good things because then I always leave someone out.
Leave people out. Crap. Yeah.
But and all the others, you all inspire me. Like
they're not even important enough to name, Ben.
Yeah. So I'll sometimes I'll stream I'll have a big week of streams and then I'll go like 2 weeks and I'll do like one stream. So I'm like, oh man, everyone's just grinding consistent. So,
it's the bear market. What else are you going to do?
Oh yeah. Good. Randy Hilarski. How could I forget him? Yeah. Because that's what he did. He started streaming like every day for Shemitah or whatever. And then he just kept going until Pulse launched.
Yeah.
So
it's a positive feedback loop. I like it. Streamers motivate streamers, and in turn, we pump the community up in a brutal bear market, which prices never seem to go low enough, do they?
Yep. Dude, comments too. Like people leave comments and they're like, "This is part of my daily routine," and I'm like, "Wow, that's cool." Like that makes me want to keep doing it. People are showing love and they're like, "Keep going, keep doing it." And I'm like, "All right, cool." So.
It is cool when I see pictures, when I see somebody they'll take a picture or I'll see them make a video and I'm playing in the background on their TV. I'm like, that's so wild to see that. I'm glad you like my content enough to be around. So that's cool.
Yeah, I was out the other day and a mob of people, they started chasing me. They're like, "You're that guy on YouTube.
You're Ben DuBard, crypto educator. Oh my God!
You in that movie?
Will you sign my shirt?
Weren't you in that movie for? Yeah, you're the guy who said that one thing.
You're the guy going to the Pulse Tour meetup, right? Right?
Uh-oh.
Oh
Ben's
man.
like, oh, never mind. No, not that guy. Not that guy. Ben, Ben, it's only, what do you say, 3 hours away? You can make it. You can make it.
Oh man.
All right, you don't have to make it. No pressure. No worries. Vince, what do you want to take us out on, man? What's good?
Looking for. I might actually join tomorrow too. Looking forward.
Yes, please bring it.
To that, having Papa B on too, I believe, right?
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like 3 a.m. his time, I think. So I'm not holding my breath, but I hope he's able to come. Him and the other person from the B9 that I was talking about.
Oh, middle class, I think.
Is it middle class? Okay, cool. Yeah, I've never met them before.
Tomorrow?
Should be. I think we're going somewhere between 1 and 2 Pacific, so probably between 4 and 5 Eastern. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that should work.
It's like I clear my schedule. I do 10 streams. I will do this. I will make it happen. It's awesome. I'm glad we all get together, and I'm glad you guys could meet. Yeah, Ben and Vince never met before, so glad to connect people as well.
Cool. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. That's all we got for you today. Come back tomorrow for day 5 of Unofficial Security Week, AMAs. We're going to do a recap.
World's best certified guarantee.
I got Childish Gambino.
Apple.
Sponsored by NordVPN. No. Not today. Sponsored by MacBooks, Windows, Microsoft, Kaspersky. Yeah. Everyone come back tomorrow. We'll be here around the same time, plus or minus an hour or two. and we'll do recap and just do a general AMA. Bring your questions, ask us stuff. We'll try to give you answers. And looks like I got a couple gentlemen joining me, at least maybe 3 or 4. We'll see. It should be a good stream. So everyone, Scivive and 5555. We are out.